First time I ever seen karate was back in the early 60s, and it was on a television program. Back in those days, television programs weren't run like they are now. If there was a gap, they used to put an interlude into it, or they put something of interest. Anyway, this day they put this chap on, who was a karate expert, and he was in, there used to be a program called a Y&I in them days. A chap called Cookie Burns was in it. But this taxi driver was a Japanese taxi driver. He was also in that program. Anyway, they showed this guy in his dojo in LA. And that's the first time I ever seen karate. And it just blew me away. It was fantastic. It was only on for about 3 or 4 minutes. But as soon as it finished, I thought, I gotta do that. So there was obviously no clubs in Cardiff in those days. So I had to go out and buy a book. And I searched the bookshops, and the only book I could find was called, I think it was called The Way of Karate. And it was by a chap called E.J. Harrison, who was a judo expert. So I bought that book, tried to learn from it, but obviously you can't just learn from a book. You can see the start and the finish, but you don't know what's happening in the middle. But I tried, and it probably got everything backwards, which I soon found out when I started training with Andy Sherry. I was doing the moves wrong, and you know, I had lots of telling offs over it. But that's the first time I ever seen karate performed. And then obviously, when they opened up the paper, and there was an advert saying there was a karate club starting in Cardiff at the Roath Church Hall in Roath, and inviting people to go along. So along I went with about 50 other people, and that's the first time I met Andy and a chap called Alan Smith. And we didn't train that night actually, because the hall was already booked for an old age pensioners too. So they travelled all the way down from Liverpool to start this club and couldn't do it. So back they went, and they said we'd be back next week. If you've seen Andy and Alan in them days, Andy was never a big guy. I don't know what kind of person we expected to see as a karate person. Big hunk of a guy, but Andy was very small. He was unshaven at the time, and Alan Smith, I think they'd been sleeping in a car. But they turned up again the next week, and obviously a smaller number of people turned up. There was probably about 25, 30 of us, and we started training. And they obviously had their gis on now, and just blew me away. Incredible. And that's how the club got started, actually. And Andy and Alan come down regular for the next 8 weeks, 10 weeks. And then they said, right, we're going to send Kanazawa down now to do the grading. So along comes Senji Kanazawa, and again blew us away with his kime and everything else. You know, it was incredible. So we had the first grading. I achieved a red belt, 8th kyu. Everyone else had 9th. And he said, right, we'll see you every month now. You run the club. So I became club instructor at 8th kyu, and that's the way it went. I mean, to be fair to all the lads that trained, no one said, oh, we don't want to train under a red belt. Everyone turned up every week, and because we didn't know much, we could only do what Andy had taught us. We did our basics rigidly, our kata, which was in them days Yan Shodan, and that's all we knew, and that's all we could practice, which was probably a good thing, because you know, we weren't into freestyle or anything like that. We didn't know any fancy techniques, so it was just dojo every week, twice a week, and rigid basics. And that's the way it all started, really.
Was there a lot of responsibility taken on your first club? How old would you have been at that point?
I was 27. I started karate quite late. But it didn't bother me because in my army career, I was a drill instructor and weapon training instructor. I was used to handling men, you know, so to have a class in front of me, it didn't bother me at all. You know, I had that authority, so it didn't bother me. But no, I enjoyed it. I loved it, actually.